Bam!
Oh, there we go.
Welcome to
Better
another
late than never.
Welcome to another episode of Mike Sports. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Landry. Landry, how are you tonight?
I'm enjoying the tardiness. I think we need to be written up for detention. We were not on time tonight due to a coffee run and then technical difficulties, which I probably needed a coffee to solve.
Yeah, I feel like the coffee helped us solve the technical difficulties. You know, it wouldn't be a Philly Sports Alliance show without some technical difficulties. So, I mean, we had to make sure it was official.
No doubt.
Especially for, it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs.
We are here.
We
the
just
end of
had
college
the
has happened.
Championship game.
And the real boys of the NFL have retired, and the men are left to fight for the scraps.
That's right. We are here to fight for a championship. Will one of our teams fight for a championship, or will it be somebody else?
And I have an interesting way
that
I think we should talk about the teams. Let's talk college football first, knock the national championship game out, and then get into our playoff bracket.
Well, the way I look at the college football championship game, it kind of seemed like Georgia was just kind of hang around with Alabama. Like, I don't know, it felt like a really long feeling out process. But once they got to go and late in the game, like Georgia's like it was one of those cases. The longer they held in the game and they were close, the more they started to feel like, you know what, this isn't a big bad Alabama. We can take this team.
Yeah, this definitely was not the best Alabama team out of all the Alabamas.
No,
but I felt like Alabama losing their receivers. I think it doomed them. It gave me old memories of Derrick Henry going out against Clemson, and Clemson pulled off a win on Bama that year. I felt like the same kind of motion started to happen. All of a sudden, Young didn't have the receivers. All of a sudden, he started getting sacked, rushed, hurried. That whole Heisman Trophy, Young did not look the same once his receivers were gone. He had nowhere to go but run, and Georgia was too fast to let him run all over the field.
And all I can say is that Nakobe Dean, he would look real good in midnight green.
Yeah. Well, hey, and look, Nick Saban even told, the Georgia coach, if anybody listened to the hot mic, towards there at the end of the game, he said, you kicked our ass in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah, and that's what happened.
That is what happened. Georgia took over the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I will go on the record saying if Alabama's receivers had been in the game, I do not think that game would have ended up like that. I'm not saying Georgia would have won, but that point spread was probably likely not going to be what the final point spread would have been.
How about that take? Yeah. Sorry, let me try and leave
that there. Yeah. And to Christopher's comment, the bear has now been poked. You've now pissed off a team that thinks they've got away from them. And here they come next season. They're going to eat somebody up.
I would agree with that too. Like Saban is like, dude, he's one hell of a coach. He's the greatest coach of all time. Like, I mean, there's really no debate. Yeah. How about it? We are living in a time right now where we're watching the greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest NFL coach, I think, of all time,
and the
greatest college football coach. What a time to be alive.
Now, when my man Jim, Harbaugh gets back in the NFL, which he is poking around and said to the NFL, he is open for phone calls. Bring it. Get my boy back in there. I'm not saying he'll pass Belichick up, but he'll go back and get that Super Bowl that he should have never gotten away from on that bad call and the 2013 Super Bowl Dome in New Orleans, which I was present at. That was a shitty-ass call in that end zone. That was pass interference against the 49ers, no doubt.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that was it was a good Super Bowl. The interesting thing with the lights going out, I'm pretty sure that
I sat in the blackout. I have the newspaper the next morning delivered to my hotel talking about it, kept it for a souvenir. I have a whole bag of souvenirs. Yeah, it's technically the longest Super Bowl in Super Bowl history now due to the blackout.
Yeah. Well, I know you told me that you were venturing around, you had to go to the bathroom, and you saw this big plug, and you said, hey, what does this do? You unplugged it, and all of a sudden the lights went out.
Yeah, so and it was weird because I was in the bathroom stall, and George Michael was in the other one, and I ran out of there with my life. Yeah, but I mean that was a great Super Bowl. But look, when it comes to this Bama Georgia thing, look, Bama was a good team. I'm glad Georgia was a good team. I'm glad Georgia got that win. They're deserving. They've been knocking on the door for a while.
Yeah, first national
they would be
championship.
lying.
80 or 81.
They would be lying if they said they beat a fully loaded Alabama at their best. They played a crippled Alabama team in that game.
I mean, injuries happen; they're part of any game. Like, nobody's gonna make excuses for Alabama.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Mm-hmm. But I won't negate when your biggest stars go down, not just a player, but your biggest wide receiver, the guy who put up the most touchdowns against Georgia in the previous game against Georgia, is now out of the game. That's a pretty big deal.
Oh, it's definitely a big deal, but I'm just saying, like,
either way, Georgia's national champs. It's not going to matter at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
But next year, oof, I'm with Christopher on that. I think you're going to have a mean, growling, saliva foaming from the mouth Alabama, who wants revenge on A&M and now wants revenge on Georgia and wants championship.
If somebody were to, I guess I could get the Alabama schedule up on my phone for next year, but I believe Alabama and Georgia play each other in the regular season next year.
I don't recall, but my deal is everybody who plays Georgia is Alabama's probably going to lose next year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm curious as to what an early line on that. I'm going to see if I can find Alabama 2022 schedule.
And look, we now know that we're playing in a league because the SEC has grown and become competitive. That one loss, and you can still make it to the playoffs and still get to the championship game. 2 teams did it this year with 2 losses. You know, the Nebraskas and the Miamis and the Ohio States, the undefeateds of the 90s. We may not see that on a regular basis anymore. We're not looking at 13-0 teams anymore. We're looking at 13-1 teams now, probably.
Yeah. All right. Why is it Alabama football schedule? I don't want Alabama basketball schedule.
Now, here's the deal. Georgia also has more players leaving the team than Bama. Bama's going to have more of their players left over after this year.
Yeah.
Another reason why Bama will be closer to repeating a national championship appearance.
Alabama football schedule 20. Yeah, thank you. That's what I want. Man, me and Google sometimes we like to fight. I know this makes for compelling YouTube video. Yeah, me searching for the Alabama schedule.
Well, let's just get on the NFL playoffs. I think
let's see.
We agree on the college scenario there.
Yeah, I definitely think we do. Do they not play? No, they don't play Georgia next year. Okay. In the regular season.
Well, that makes the SEC championship all that more valuable if they don't.
Yeah, I certainly hope it's Georgia Alabama next year in the SEC title game again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right. We definitely agreed on the college football scenario. Like, again, kudos to Georgia, first national title since, what was it, 80 or 81? Yeah, either way, it was
31 years or something like that.
I thought it was 41.
Yeah, you're right. It's 41. Yeah, it is 41.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. Well deserved. And watch out for the Alabama Revenge Tour next year. So yeah, let's get into the NFL playoffs. Okay. Let's start right. Let's see. I wanted to go just in order for the NFL schedule. Do you have that in front of you?
I can get it. I usually rely on you for the NFL schedule.
Okay, I can.
You want me to bring mine up?
I got it. So Bengals Raiders at 4:30 on Saturday.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to take a special approach to the playoff bracket.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is exactly how it goes. I'm saying if you had to look at it this way, what do you think? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the best quarterback of each game is the team that's going to win.
Okay. And look, I think it's a sound strategy.
Yeah, I think and of course, the reason it could be completely wrong is if the defense shows up and just destroys the offense, obviously. Sure. So in that game, I think Burrow is the better quarterback. So I see the Bengals beating the Raiders.
And I agree with you, and I think for the same reason. Yeah.
Okay. What we got next?
All right. Bills, Patriots. And this would be another case where the better quarterback is Josh Allen. Is that
Josh Allen? I'm picking the Bills because I think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. At this stage, Mac Jones is still developing. I'll leave the verdict out for him for a while.
Oh, sure. But the better quarterback right now is definitely Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to skip our teams and do them last, or?
No, let's just knock it. We're in the AFC right now. Let's just go one more AFC game. Steelers, Chiefs.
Okay, Steelers, Chiefs. The better quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, Ben came out today. I don't know if you saw his quote.
Oh, yeah.
We don't stand a chance.
I think he said that directly to send a message. One, with the way maybe the guys are practicing.
It better be sarcasm. Otherwise, boy, you should have just retired and put your backup in for this game.
Well, I think he just wanted to light a fire under his team. It's like, oh, man, this guy's saying, like, what we're doing, the way we're approaching this thing, we don't have a chance. I mean, they're 12.5-point underdogs right now. Like, I generally don't like to take anybody double-digit underdogs in the playoffs. Yeah. Or I typically don't like to take double-digit favorites in the playoffs because I feel like everybody is supposed to be at least pretty even.
Look, I'm going to go with Ben Roethlisberger. They don't stand a chance. I got Chiefs.
All right.
Yeah. So, if both of those predictions are true, or I'm sorry, all three of those predictions are true, I mean, you got that. That would put Josh Burrow versus the Tennessee Titans and the Bills versus the Chiefs. In those two games, who are your best quarterbacks?
Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
That's who I have too. So that makes an AFC championship of the Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs. Nuts. Could not have thought of that at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And of course, if the Bengals don't win, all irrelevant. But
it's funny. At the beginning of the season, talking with somebody else, I said, I felt like there were three teams that could win the AFC North. The one that won it was the one that I didn't include in that conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was just because, and it wasn't that I didn't like Joe Burrow and didn't like the Bengals. I just thought it would take them a year to get there. Like, I was on the train of liking him.
He's come along fast after post-injury too. Surprise!
Yeah, good on him. Like, and if it weren't for Dak Prescott and the year he had after the horrific injury he had, I think Joe Burrow would be the comeback player of the year.
Probably, yeah.
But I think Dak Prescott definitely has to get that award.
Yeah, he is. I'm pretty sure he's going to get it. I think the votes are leaning his way. NFC.
All right, NFC. Let's break that down now. So, why'd it go away on me? Well, I know
Rams Cardinals.
Yeah, Rams Cardinals is Monday night.
Who's the better quarterback?
How do you feel about the Monday night matchup first? Having Monday night football in the playoffs.
I love it. Give me a night game.
I'm all about night games, but like
Monday night or Sunday night?
There's a Monday night.
Not a real Monday night guy, but give me some prime time, I'll take it. And that's the only game on Monday, so I'm like, hey, It's giving me another day of football when no other football will be played. I'm still going to take it.
Look, I mean, hey, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it gives me another reason to watch football on a day where typically there would be none, so I love it. I don't like the channel, but I like that it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Now, my only thought is you already know now that whoever wins that game is going into a short week in the playoffs. I don't necessarily love that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it's another day with football. Suck it up, Buttercup. You'll be all right.
I'm going Rams because I think Rams have the better quarterback.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think that's one of the more interesting matchups as far as the better quarterback. Matt Stafford, I mean, look, he's the traditional pocket passer, and I've been on the Matt Stafford, bandwagon all year, and so I'm going to stick with it. Kyler Murray, though, he's been playing really well and making me look really smart, saying Arizona Cardinals could be one of my sleeper teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. And while we're on the subject of our sleeper teams, thank you, Chargers, for reminding me why you're the Chargers. Dumbest freaking organization.
Why did you call a timeout? The Raiders look like they were pretty much going to give you
the Raiders were going to let it go to a tie and put you in the playoffs.
In fact, if you read the coach's comments, post-interview, post-game, it sounded like until that timeout was called, they were probably going to let them in.
He said, man, that was a discussion on the sidelines. Because look, and I still think what the Raiders should have done was to still come out and run the ball again because and let the clock run out.
Yeah.
Because look, you get a blocked field goal there and it gets run back for a touchdown, and all of a sudden you're out of the playoffs.
Look, and I don't know what the rules are.
You have no responsibility to the Pittsburgh.
But I probably would have told Carr, hey, after you throw a ball, run by their head coach on the sideline and go, you're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And hum something to make sure they don't try to do anything stupid. I couldn't believe that call. That was bonehead. Herbert had put an excellent comeback package together. I think the whole team looked at the head coach and it was like, what the fuck were you thinking?
I mean, look, that's got to be one of the reason why the Chargers are not in the playoffs is because of their coach. Like, plain and simple.
Yep.
Like, and he his whole thing all year was talked about he wanted to be aggressive. Dude, there's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid.
Look, and we weren't even on the field. We weren't even involved in the game
right.
other than a spectator. And we saw that the Raiders were looking like they were trying to give the Chargers that chance. So how the hell did they not know that on the coaching staff?
Right. And how you not – to me, I'm forcing their hand. If I'm the Chargers, I'm forcing the Raiders' hand. You've got to make the decision. I'm not going to call the timeout and give you time to think about what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you make that decision.
I'm just going to let you show me. And the Raiders were showing you, dude, we're running the ball at play after play.
And I mean,
we're not going out of bounds.
Did you see the Steeler fan in the stands at the game?
I did.
That was hilarious.
You know, the Raiders weren't going out of bounds. They were running up the middle. They were trying to show you we're just going to melt the clock away.
And how do you, as the Chargers, not say, all right, let's go to the playoffs?
I mean, even if I wasn't sure, I'd go, well, hell, I'd rather know 100% than jinx it. So I'm just going to let them, even if they're going to score a touchdown, at least I knew because they scored the touchdown. I mean, it's not like you were going to get the ball back and win that game.
No. At that point, you knew you were either tying or you were losing.
They're going to run the score out or they're going to score. So either you're going or you're not, and it's in the Raiders' hands. So let the Raiders tell you what the plan is.
Right, because like you said, at that point, you weren't getting the ball back. They were going to get a chance to kick that field goal.
Yeah.
So why not see if they were going to let you in
the clock to a point to where they could line up and kick a field goal, or they were going to run it and let the clock expire, and that be game.
That's the thing. Dude. Like, I think once it became like a reasonable field goal, like a 45-yard field goal, I think the Raiders felt like, all right, well, now we just kind of owe it to the league to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise, I think they were going to say 50-plus yard field goal. Well, heck, if we miss it and like if we don't run all the time out, they get a chance to line up and maybe kick a 60-yard field goal and win this thing.
Yeah. So, well, look, that's game. I'm going Rams in this game. I think the Rams are going to take the Cardinals. I don't really know what the score difference will be, but I think the Rams have the edge. I find the coaching and the team overall in current state playing better football than the Cardinals.
Agreed. I mean, I like Sean McVay more than I like Cliff Kingsbury. I like Sam Bradford, Matt Stafford. Excuse me. I love doing that too. I
know you did it last time too.
I love Matt Stafford more than Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give me the Rams. I've been on the Rams all year.
Okay, so that moves Stafford into the next slot of quarterbacks. Now we got the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Old 1994 blood there.
I know. I feel like, wait, aren't they playing a little early? They're supposed to play the NFC title game. That's what they did every year in the early 90s.
Got some old blood. I picked San Francisco as my dark horse. I had no idea they would land in my team's lap to play, but I think Dak Prescott is the better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo has a higher ceiling as far as passing, but where Dak takes Garoppolo down as far as who's the better quarterback is Dak is mobile. Garoppolo is not. So I'm going to go with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys moving forward in that game.
Like you asked the question, we were going to base this all on who the better quarterback was, and so that's why Dak Prescott is the better quarterback of the two.
Here's my concern with the Cowboys and why I'm worried about them all playoffs. Zeke is not 100%. For those that don't know, he's been playing with a knee injury since game 2 that has never healed right. The doctors told him it's better to play with it like it is and do surgery on it. So he's been playing with it, and he clearly does not look the same to me. Now you have Pollard and Clement coming in and doing some backup running and whatnot. But either way, to me, Zeke looks like a liability. To me, all he's doing is getting like 1 yard at a time. He really doesn't look like he needs to be in the game to me. That's my opinion.
I think you guys should rely more on Tony Pollard.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Tony Pollard hits the hole hard, and he's faster than Zeke. Doesn't have as much power, but if you give him a little space, he's gonna get a couple more yards than Zeke right now in current stage. So that's the liability. I'm still going to go with the Cowboys in this game, though.
Well, like you said, on the quarterback, I would have to agree with you, Dak Prescott, and that would mean the Cowboys moving forward. Overall, I still think, man, if you measure out the 53-man roster, I think San Francisco's got a better roster than Dallas. Not by much, but I like their roster construction. And I'll take Kyle Shanahan over Mike McCarthy.
Being that, here's my deal. To me, the Cowboys have a weakness that I don't talk about often, but their weakness is mobile quarterbacks. That's why I think we're going to destroy the 49ers, actually. You give us a pocket passer and we're going to eat you alive. Pocket passers don't do well against the Cowboys. Running teams do, a la the Cardinals, etc. We have a problem. Our defense is designed for that quarterback to sit, and we just screw you up, and Parsons is all over the field messing everything up for you, and you're in that pocket, and we collapse it. When you have a mobile quarterback, we're a completely different defense. And we're also in the NFC East, we're dominant. Outside of the NFC East, we're 6-5. So there's some things to note there. I think we can beat the Niners because of pocket passing. Parsons will be back from COVID in this game. I think he's going to come back flying because he's just that type of character.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is actually going to be a convincing win for the Cowboys. I don't think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a 14-point game, Cowboys.
Okay.
And that's because
the Cowboys are going to win and cover.
Just because of Parsons, I think is the reason why that happens.
Okay. I actually think San Francisco is going to win this game. Okay. But like you said, the better quarterback is Dak Prescott. And I guess I'm going against the logic here of the better quarterback.
Well, look, I would say the 49ers have superior coaching over us. I think Shanahan's better coach.
Well, that's the thing. McCarthy. Like every other thing I measure out. Like
so there's some quality there. Where there's not a quality to me is Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and Cooper. Those guys will
see. What I look forward to seeing is Micah Parsons chasing after like Deebo Samuel. Mm-hmm. Like I look forward to that matchup.
We'll see. I think Parsons being off a week, he's not the guy that comes back starting rusty. He's the guy that's 100%, and he's going to be even healthier now to me. So he's being his youth. That brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles and good old Brady. Beat you in one Super Bowl. You beat him in one. The tiebreaker is upon us.
Well, I mean, look, as far as who's the better quarterback, even though I have become a huge believer in Jalen Hurts.
Carson Wentz is good, man.
Oh, yeah. He is good. He had a terrible week this past week in a game that could have made all of that irrelevant with the
Still not enough to save Brian Flores' job, but whatever.
But yeah, I do think Tampa is going to win this game.
Convincingly, or you think it's going to be a tight game?
I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be tight going into the fourth quarter. I think it
pull away.
I think they'll pull away in the fourth quarter. I just think the Eagles are going to have trouble running the ball. One thing they're going to have to do is when they see Vita Vea, the defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, go onto the sidelines, they better go. That's when they better run the ball. They better run hurry up and don't substitute. Don't let Vita Vea get back on the field.
Get those yards wise off the field.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I got Tampa Bay in this game. I don't even think it'll be close. I think Tampa Bay. And the reason I'm saying this is because Tampa Bay would play the Cowboys next, and I think Tampa Bay will beat the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, I do think Tampa's going to win. And I guess in my scenario, I have San Francisco would go to San Francisco would go to Green Bay. So, yeah, right. Tampa and Tampa and so do I have the Rams will play each other.
Yeah, it'd be Tampa and Rams and Green Bay. Would who Green Bay be against?
Green Bay, my scenario would say San Francisco.
Yeah, they'd be against the Niners.
Yeah.
So on my version, that would mean I would have, of course, we're talking about the next round would be Green Bay Rams. I have Green Bay beating the Rams, which would have a Brady Rodgers showdown, which I'm going to get Brady will beat Rodgers. They're 3-0 against the Packers. I think they know how to beat the Packers. So I got Brady playing the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl in my bracket.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Brady and the Bucs advance past the Rams. I mean, again, you know how much I love Stafford, but
Tom
Brady,
San Fran and Green Bay. Who do you got advancing out of that?
Green Bay.
Okay,
yeah.
So you have the same matchup, but who do you picking out of the Tampa Bay Green Bay matchup? That's where you might.
I have the Packers.
Okay.
This is one of those things I don't think. They're going to be able to contain Rodgers very well. And Devontae Adams, I feel like he's just uncoverable. Like, I feel like he's even a bigger key than Rodgers is. Just
my concern with Tampa Bay is the Antonio Brown piece has now been removed, fired, torched, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what that offense looks like now with that piece out of the puzzle. That
is my concern as well. Yeah.
I don't know how that works. And if obviously they look sloppy against the Eagles because of that, well, then I'm going to show some concern and probably lean more Green Bay. But right now, as is, the only thing that could change this up to me is if I see the Cowboys beat Tampa Bay, which we match up well against Tampa Bay. Again, a pocket passer. That's why we had a 1-point game in the opening season.
And I still say, if you get the Tom Brady, it's almost like he's now just like he just doesn't want to get hit.
And we did in the first game against them. We lost by a point. Now, look, a whole season's gone by. Teams are a little bit better, but the Cowboys are also better than they were in the beginning game too. So we're going to find out
Brady doesn't want to get hit. I feel like he'll throw some. Like he's had some bad interceptions in games. Heck, last year in the NFC title game against Green Bay, he threw a couple interceptions.
Yeah. And what's weird is Brady's interceptions. I guess it's cliche to say it, are always uncharacteristic because you just don't think about Brady. But it's the way his interceptions go. Sometimes you're like, what? Like they don't even make sense how he gets intercepted. And the only thing I can think of is his wide receivers just bust their route, screw it, and he ends up throwing to the wrong spot and it gets yanked. I don't really see Brady very often just toss it in the other team's hands.
Tom Brady, now obviously has the most playoff appearances of any quarterback in NFL history, 45, and 45 playoff games. The next closest. How
old is he? How old is Brady right now?
Is he 45 or 44?
Yeah, I was like, I'm telling you, there's some magic. That's why I said Brady needs to get one more Super Bowl for him to close shop because of the numbers. I think there's like a superstition in there with Brady.
He's had 45 playoff games. The next closest, Joe Montana with 23.
Yeah, almost double. One more game and it's double.
Yeah. And that'll be this Sunday. Yeah. He'll double.
I think Brady gets one more. He'd also double the Super Bowls of Joe Montana.
Yeah. In those playoffs, Tom Brady 34-11.
Like that's called coaching Hall of Fame record.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you a little appreciation, I know, look, I know you appreciate how great Tom Brady is, and I know you know how much I appreciate the greatness of Tom Brady.
Sure.
But, I feel like there are a lot of people who just want to brush it off and say, oh, Spygate, Deflategate. Tom Brady, when they corrected those footballs in that Deflategate game against Indianapolis, had a better second half than he did the first half.
Well, here's the other deal. Here's a statistic that'll make you think. Brady has more wins in the playoffs and a better playoff record than the Jets have had in 17 years. That is crazy. The Jets can't even put enough wins together to outpace a playoff record. Not a season, a playoff record. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I can take how many times the Jets have won in regular season in the last 17 years, and their record's worse than Brady's playoff record and less wins in an entire season, 17 years worth. Blah.
Yeah. And they even had an extra game this year.
Yeah. For the Jets, it's more like, damn, we have extra embarrassment time.
Can't we just not show up for that?
So basically, the only place me and you really differ was in the Rodgers Brady segment.
Well, in the Cowboy, yeah,
the San Francisco. Well, which leads to the Brady Packers thing being different. So I mean, either way, it equals out.
Because we both have Green Bay and Tampa in the NFC title.
Yeah, because you have Tampa beating 49ers. So in the end, it's the Rodgers Tampa that me and you are really forking off of. Now, look, I was with you at the beginning of the year. If the scenario works or Green Bay plays someone else other than Tampa Bay in the championship, Green Bay is going to win it. Yeah. I just think Tampa knows how to play Green Bay. They got their number. They know what they're doing against them.
Yeah, if the Rams beat the Bucks, I am going to run to bet on Green Bay in the NFC title game.
Hey, what if the Cardinals beat the Rams? I mean, any given Sunday.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about it like this. We've gone straight up quarterbacks being like the dominant factor. What games out of those do you think it could still go the other way? Which ones? Let's go back to the AFC. Big Ben, Kansas City. I think both agree Kansas City either way. Yeah.
I feel really confident on the first round matchups in the AFC. The one where I think it could go the other way is, man, that Bill Belichick is a bad man.
Yeah, he could trip the Bills up.
Trip
the Bills up. And Allen be out, and it would be Pats versus Mahomes. Wait,
yeah.
No, wouldn't. Would it? Or would it be
no, it
Pats
would be
versus Titans and Bengals go to the Chiefs?
Yeah. So the Bengals is the home team. Yeah. Okay. So the Bengals.
Can you imagine the Bengals against the Chiefs?
Bengals, Chiefs,
slaughter. They'd all be wearing tiger fur after the game. Just an absolute destruction.
Yeah, it was Bengals, Chiefs, Patriots, Titans. And how fitting would it kind of be? You know, the Titans were the team that eliminated the Patriots in their last playoff game. Wouldn't it be something? Then the Patriots go into Tennessee, just like the Titans went into New England and upset the Patriots. If the Patriots went into Tennessee and upset the Titans.
Yeah. Look, obviously we can pump out scenarios all day on this. I think our bracket's pretty strong. I'll go with mine where I think there could be a change up. My change up is going to be Bills, Patriots in the AFC could be the change up match. And in the NFC, I'm actually going to go, and we're going first round here. We can do switchovers next week. Would be actually the Rams falling to the Cardinals somehow. There's something about the Rams every once in a while. They just get slippery.
Sure.
And they get beat somehow, and you're like, what? And this could be one of those
Stafford
games.
all of a sudden gets colorblind and starts throwing interceptions.
Yeah. So I could see that game being flip-flopped. Other than that,
I agree with you.
Good about the picks.
That one makes the most sense. I'll just go the one that we differed on. I could easily see the Cowboys win it. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, I would say when you're playing a team that you don't play often,
right?
It's in a playoff. Like you're not really game time filmed on them. You haven't watched a ton of tape because they're not in your conference. You're not playing them all the time. The Niners are one of those teams for the Cowboys, but I still believe pocket passer teams are basically death when you play us.
That's solid logic, like you said.
We're 85% wins again.
Had their chance to beat Tom Brady and the Bucks on opening night, and then just throughout the season, you did see that where pocket passers had a real tough time against the Cowboys.
Yeah, but on the other end, if we end up playing, Green Bay, if we end up playing, let's say we made Super Bowl and played Mahomes, boy, I would hate to watch us go down in flames against a mobile quarterback too. Now, we did play the Eagles who have a mobile quarterback, and we obviously slaughtered the Eagles in that game. But, look, the Eagles aren't as good, and the Cowboys aren't as good as the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers as far as records and playability go.
I know. I mean, the Eagles aren't on that level yet. This is a good test, I think, going down and playing Tampa for the Eagles in the first round. Like, this is a spot to really see where you are as an organization.
Yeah.
And if Jalen Hurts and company are going to level up to the competition. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take. Like, Jalen's going to have to level up. Look, the
Cowboys are close. I think Cowboys in the next 3 years are going to capitalize on one of those years for a win. They're trending up every year. They're looking good. Parsons obviously immediately, and Dan Quinn being our defensive coordinator has done wonders for the Cowboys. So I think even my nephew, who's a diehard Redskins fan, even he had to tell me, he's like, "Look, man, in all honesty, you guys are on the edge of getting it. You are close."
I think you guys are flirting with that line, man. You guys are
we're showing up now. Who knows? The Cowboys could get one and then go flat again after that for 10 years. I don't know.
Wow.
We could fire our head coach. We could fire our star quarterback. You never know. We could be the Eagles, and y'all could be the 90s Cowboys all over again like y'all did. It's funny. I told my friend, I said, hey, my friend fired his quarterback. That was his first round pick, and then fired his head coach, 2 years after winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And I said, for the first time, we were late. We were late on something. We fired a Super Bowl winning head coach. I never thought I'd see the Eagles pull the Cowboys, and they did. History was not avoided. You think you would see the reason to know history is so you're not doomed to repeat it.
Oh, the Eagles didn't learn from it.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't look like Sirianni's a Barry Switzer.
Yeah, no doubt. So speaking of coaching firing, let me go down the list of who I got that I know has been fired.
Yeah.
I got Joe Judge of the Giants. No surprise there.
No surprise.
That.
I'm actually surprised they waited as long as they did.
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of you might as well wait until the season's over. I don't get the whole one game.
Well, no, I mean, like, because normally it's that Monday after the season, you go ahead and fire your coach. Yeah. The Giants fired Gettleman, the GM, and then it was like a couple days later, they're like, wait, what are we doing here? Why are we going to hire a GM who's going to come in here and have to decide on the coach? We already know this coach is awful and we need him out of here, so they went ahead and fired him.
Yeah. And then we got Vic Fangio, Denver Broncos. No surprise there.
Yeah.
The surprise I didn't see coming was Brian Flores.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, that was a weird move. And here's why it bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
When I read into the GM and the coaches' comments towards each other, the GM stated Brian Flores is hard to work with. He's a difficult person. Okay. Brian Flores seemed a little bitter towards the whole thing. And I was like, you know why he's bitter? It came down to one decision if you paid attention to what happened between Flores and the GM. Brian Flores wanted Herbert, and the GM wanted Tua. And you got to be pretty bitter sitting in a game, getting your ass kicked, and you got Tua on your team, and you're watching Herbert light it up going, I was right, you were wrong. I have to deal with your bad decisions. And I think that's what made Brian Flores difficult towards the GM. He's like, you screwed it up.
Yeah.
It could have been. I mean, imagine Herbert on the Dolphins.
I know.
At least 8 wins minimum probably on that team this year.
Well, I mean, they won 9 games this year. They went 9-8 Miami.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is some of those games that they got slaughtered, those games probably would have come down to a 50-50 chance. They would have got the 8 to 9 wins regardless. You give Herbert and you have a chance in all those games that you got your ass kicked. Pretty good. I mean, the Dolphins lost some games by 29 points. I mean, there were some absolute slaughters in their schedule. I think Herbert's
the guy gave the Jaguars their first win of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that was a bad hire. You obviously agree. Matt Nagy out. No surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise.
We weren't sure on Mike Zimmer, but he's out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, you lose a big game you had to have because your quarterback wasn't there. Yeah, because of the COVID stuff. I mean.
Well, look, I think Mike Zimmer, unfortunately to me, is kind of in the Tony Dungy stage was with the Buccaneers. They looked at you and said, you're a good coach. You're not a bad coach. You've kept us relevant. But for some reason, you're not talented enough to get over that hump of being good enough. We need someone to make us great. And I think they said he's hit his ceiling as far as he can take the Vikings. It's time to move on. Not that he did bad with the Vikings. It's that we've gone as far as we can go with you.
Yeah, and I always feel like the hardest thing to do is to go from good to great. You see a lot of teams every year that, they were poor the year before, they come out and all of a sudden they look good and you're like, oh wow, that's a good football team there.
Yeah.
And then how many times did you see the regression the next year? So I feel like it's harder to go, it's easier to go from bad to good than good to great. And I feel like that's what happened in Minnesota. And the Kirk Cousins investment, and people can say what they want. I've always been a detractor of Kirk Cousins. I don't feel like he's brought anything to the table there. And again, I don't want to get into the, whether or not people should be vaccinated or whatnot. But to me, when you're the quarterback of a football team, you have a responsibility to those guys in that locker room. And I know he could have gotten sick, whether he had gotten vaccinated or not. But the fact that he wasn't vaccinated meant he couldn't come off the list in time for him to participate in the most important game of their season. And look, that loss, make no mistake about it, that loss and being eliminated from the playoffs cost Mike Zimmer his job.
Yep, no doubt. 100%. Well, so right now we are in the seat predicting the Super Bowl, obviously. You've got your prediction. You think we're looking at a Green Bay Chiefs. Right now I have Bucs Chiefs repeat. So obviously every week could be we're right on target or one of our picks toast our outcome.
Hey, my Eagles could toast your Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, they could. Hey, you never know. We could both beat everybody and we end up playing each other again.
That'd be fantastic. I'd be down for that. That means NFC title game, Eagles, Cowboys. We go to Texas Stadium, shock the world.
Yeah, it'd be crazy. Yeah. And then Michael Irvin would show up, he'd trip, hit his head, and the Eagles fans would cheer. Then it gives us all the vigor we need to dominate y'all by 50 points again.
And then Santa Claus comes out of nowhere, tackles you guys at the one, but still gets beat by Eagles fans. Somehow they
Herman shows up, obliterates everybody in a blind rage.
This sounds like a reasonable expectation for a football
That's
game.
all we got, and we're only a couple of ways knowing from having a lot of our answers to where we're going to stand. This is going to be a good week of football.
Oh, this is going to be a fun week. I love wild card week. Divisional week's the best week of football because you have all the best teams playing.
Yeah.
But wild card weekend, a lot of fun. How cool is it? We're going to have the triple header Sunday after a double header Saturday, and then a Monday night football. It's just, hey, it's the playoffs, man. Don't think about it, but in a few weeks, we're going to be sitting here being like, man, how much longer till football?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we're a month away, 4 weeks away from being like football's over a whole another year till we sign on and even talk about anything interesting on the show again.
Well, I mean, look, we'll talk about the combine. We'll talk about free agency.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much, for the Eagle Cowboy fans out there, we end up going all Eagles Cowboys during the summer.
Yeah. I mean, basically when it's not football season, this is basically just an Eagles and Cowboys show.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, we try to dabble in if we see some news from other teams. But
the only thing I'd say would probably be relevant is obviously any last minute trades, the draft, and any big coaching pickups will be covered.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get it. We'll get into we'll analyze every coaching hire.
And next week will be a good opportunity for us we'll have the official probably coaches who are out list. I'm sure there's a couple more to come. And we'll be able to predict.
Yeah, there's usually one or two outliers that.
Yeah, and this is interesting. I saw this today. Yeah. I find this very interesting before we get off the show.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos have reached out to 2 offensive coaches of Green Bay. I wonder why they're going for Green Bay coaches.
Because Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers could be coming to Denver after this season.
Oh, I definitely think there's a very good chance that happens.
Yeah.
If the Packers don't win the Super Bowl, I think that you've seen the last of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. If they win it, I do think there's a chance that Rodgers would say, man, we've got something special here. Why don't I just come back and finish it out one more year, see if I can repeat. He will have already gotten.
Yeah, if they win a Super Bowl, he would be stupid to leave. If they don't, and he thinks he can go, and his main receiver's contract's up this year too. He can go
right.
I can
Denver. That being a case where they try to go in a package deal somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be like Gronkowski jumping over to the Bucs. All over again. Rodgers is going to pull a Manning and a Brady. Look, right now they're the 3 pinnacle quarterbacks in NFL history right now. That everybody pays attention to, and they all could make similar moves and be smart at the end of the season and be in control of the rest of their career.
Well, if you think about it, it's actually be the 4th guy who did that. Yeah, not recent. Joe Montana.
Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah.
I forgot about those days, man.
Everybody remembers it.
All I remember is Joe Montana and BVD underwear. I don't even remember that dude playing football anymore. Every commercial is BVD underwear. BVD underwear. I'm like, oh my God, you're making me think of my dad. I don't want to pay attention to who you are anymore. Anyways, that's all we got.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. Enjoy and great weekend. Enjoy football. See you next week.
Catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, man.